Good morning, Rabotai. We are continuing our series on technology and halacha. Yesterday we spoke about electricity on Shabbat. What would be the issues with electricity on Shabbat? And I wanted to expand on that, especially what the Sephardic Rabbanim have said in this regard, particularly the Rabbanim from Morocco. So it's written in, as we mentioned yesterday, that there was two approaches, whether when you close a circuit, is it called that you are building something, and when you close a circuit, whether you are destroying something, so it's boneh or soter. And that was one approach of the Chazon Ish. The other approach was that you are creating something new, That's by closing a circuit. However, by opening an incandescent light bulb, over there, it was obvious to the poskim that there's an isur de oraita because you are creating fire. Rabbi Yosef Mesas writes in Ma'im Chaim Siman Sadi Dalid that the first time he says he saw electricity, he was in the city of Fez, and he saw how it worked, and it seemed to be to him that it was that for sure, he says, when you turn on the light and you make fire, that's called an isur deoraita. He spoke afterwards to Av Bedin, to the chief rabbi there, Rabbi Shaul ibn Denan, and Rabbi Shaul ibn Denan said that it was obvious that whether you open up or close the light, there's always going to be isur deoraita on Shabbat and Yom Tov. But once again, it was a developing issue. The question is, when you close the light, is there an isur deoraita or not? When you open up the light and you make fire, for sure there's an isur deoraita. When you close it, according to the Chazon Ish, you are destroying others, you're not. But the question is there an isur deoraita as well on a light bulb? Not only closing the circuit, but also closing the light bulb. On Shabbat. So here we have a discussion, and it says in the Mishnah in Bamim Badlikin that we say every single Friday night that if a person has a light, Rabbi Yosef, if he closes a light, mibnei chole, mibnei sheyashan patur, kichas al ner, kichas al Hashem, kichas al petilah chayav. Let's say you want the petilah. Let's say you want the wick. You're chayav. Rabbi Yosef poter kulan chutz mina petilah mipnei shehu osa pecham. And Rabbi Yosef exempts all of these cases because unless the wick, you want to make it into charcoal to be able to use it for something. This is dependent upon what we said in our second part of the series of technology on Shabbat, that there's melacha she'ena tzricha legufa on Shabbat, is a machloket if you're chayav or patur. A melacha that you don't use for the purpose that it was used in the Mishkan. And in this case, extinguishing on Shabbat was used in the Mishkan in order to be used the charcoal to be able to write letters with. Or sometimes they had other uses, but they needed the extinguishing. Let's say you don't need the extinguishing itself. You need that the light goes off for other things, but it's not the thing itself. So it's a machloket between Rabbi Yosef, which is going under Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who says it's patur, or Rabbi Yehuda that says chayav. And we mentioned then that the Rambam's opinion that you're chayav. So it's not so simple. So according to the Rambam, you would be chayav. And in the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch, it's a very big debate. Rabbi Shalom Mesas in Tvuat Shamesh, Siman Lamed Gimel, and Siman Chav Zayin, Chavchet, Chavtet, he speaks about this, and he says that it would seem to be that according to the Ikar Halacha, you would not be chayav deoraita. It's only derabanan to shut off a light. And he says, and Rabbi Yosef Mesas ends off with the same thing, that he says, obvious when you turn on a light is deoraita, but when you close it, it would be derabanan. Rabbi Baruch Toledano as well, in Shelot Utshuvot Rabbi Baruch Orachaim Siman Chavtet, he has a whole debate with Rabbi Yosef Mesas, as Rabbi Shalom had with Rabbi Yosef Mesas as well, on closing a light on Yom Tov. I'm not going to discuss the whole issue, it's not our topic, but at the end he says, obviously, he was only discussing about electricity, that when you close it, it's not deoraita. In other words, when you open it, it's pashut, that it's deoraita. When you close down, it's deoraita. Also one of the great Rabbanim, Rabbi Shlomo HaKohen from Dubdo, Rabbi Lecha Shlomo, Siman Chet. He understood that that closing a light is much more lenient as well. Rabbi David Cohen Skali, contemporary of his from Oran in Siman Nun Hey, is on the opposite end of the spectrum, and he understands that Melacha She'izrach Lagufa, you're obligated, so it's the oraita to close a light. Either way, the consensus of the poskim is that when you have to shut a light, when you have to shut a light bulb, it's much more lenient, and therefore you could ask a goy, especially in a case where it's where there's onig Shabbat. So because you have a double derabanan. Number one is that closing a light might only be derabanan. Number two, you're asking a goy. Now, although the Chazon Ish understood that closing a light is deoraita, but by amira la goy, in a case of need, the poskim will be more lenient. It's obviously a case by case basis. You have to ask your local rav. But I'm telling you that what some of the Sephardic poskim from Morocco said on this issue. So once again, opening up a light that has fire, that has a filament light bulb, is everybody understands Isur Deoraita, and closing the light would be a derabanan according to most, because we follow Melacha She'izrach Lagufa is patur, and you're not using the actual light when it's closed. Just to mention, Rav Chaim Ozer Grudinsky, the great Rav before the Holocaust, he would insist on doing Havdalah Borei Morei Ha'esh on a light bulb to show that it was real fire. Yeah. Chazaku Baruch.